Hi there, right, well, I'm here to show you and actually create one of our poinsettias. This is from our flower forming. Now check out what you could be doing. So this is right on the front. So just adding that extra bit of embellishment when it comes to your Christmas card using the poinsettia. Very, very easy to make. It is all part of our flower forming range. So what I'm just going to do is I've got the dies already here. Now you'll be able to see you've got a nice selection of different sizes. So whether you want to go from your larger one down here, you've got your medium, your small, and even in your smaller. So use all 5 together layered up. Use them individually if you wanted to. It's entirely up to yourself. Now we have got within our packs, we've got an a delicious array of colours within the pack. So we have got this very ruby red here, perfect for the poinsettia, but then we've got your lighter greens, which is great for any of the foliage or the leaves, because what we're actually going to do is we're actually going to use the same dye to create the leaves. So what do we do? What we're going to do is we're going to take the big die, and then what I'm also going to do is I'm just going to take maybe the second smallest. I'm only going to use 2 sizes. We've still got the 3 that you could be using if you want. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of our heat reactive foam, and then all that I'm just wanting to do is I'm just wanting to make sure I've got enough, because you can see there it fits lengthwise with the largest one, but I'm also going to bring in our mini because it is going to die cut multiple layers. Going to cut the 2 layers, no problem at all. It will cut even more than that. So all that I'm just going to do is I'm just going to trim this down just slightly, just to make sure it's going to go through my mini. So if we just take some of that excess away, obviously you will be a lot more generous when it comes to making sure that you've got enough. So I'm just going to pop that just within my plate, and then also that next one. So what I'm just going to do is just fold that one over, and then I'm just going to run this one through. Now, although that I am using our mini, it will go through the Go, it'll go through your Junior as well as the large Gemini, but it'll also go through any of your other die cutting machines. So you can see now, we've then got these just perfectly die cut. Now you could, if you wanted to, use them as they are, but we are going to shape them using our heat tool. Now, if I take away this one just here, we've got them all laid out now. What you can also do as well, don't forget, use them with paper and card. Doesn't stop you from using other mediums. Now, I've just taken some plum jam. Now, you would think maybe I would go for a red, but I'm going for the plum jam when it comes to this one. And I'm just going to add just an extra wee bit of colour on the outside edges. So you could use the actual blending tool that you get with it, or what we're just going to do is run this one just on the edges. So I'm just holding the centre, you can see just there, just so that we don't pull off the actual poinsettia petal. And I'm just adding that colour just to the edge. And because it's the plum jam, it's just going to give that bit of accent colour all the way around the edges. So we're just going to add that to the sides just there. So there's that one. So we'll just quickly do these ones as well. So just adding that bit of colour around the edges. You can add extra detail if you want. If you want to add some centre detail using maybe your classiques or tri-blends, you absolutely can do. It's entirely up to yourself. So what we're just doing is popping that one to the side, and let's take another one just to add around the edges. And you'll be able to see, I'll bring this last one in a moment, just so you can see that although that it's the plum jam, let's take this larger one. Although it's a plum jam, you know, it doesn't look like a deep purple. It just looks like you're just adding an extra hint of deep red around the edges just there. So that is these ones just done. So then what I'm also just going to do is let's just take some of the green foam. So we've got this one here. Now remember what I was saying, how we're still going to be using that same dye, although it's a poinsettia dye, we're still going to be using it to create the leaves underneath. So I've done 2 layers once again. So let's just bring in our mini, and then we can just move these ones out the way, and let's just bring in our folder once again. So we're just going to close that one, and then we're just going to run that one through. So as we then run that one through, moving them ones out the way. So let's take our folders, and then I'm just going to separate these ones. So if we just separate these ones, so we've got the 2 of them, and we can set them ones to the side so that they can be used just later. So let's move them ones there, there, and there. And then what I'm just going to do just while I've got it in my mind, let's just clean up that ink because we don't want to get that anywhere else. Now, what I've got here is I've got just a craft iron. Now, you could be using a home iron if you want, but we are just making sure it's not quite at the hottest temperature. It's kind of in the middle between hot and medium. You could use a heat tool if you wanted to. That's entirely up to yourself. And then I'm just bringing in some of our actual ball tools. So we've got the mat, and then we're just going to take one of the sizes. So there's 3 ball tools, but there's actually 6 different shapes, 6 different edges. So you've got from the largest one, and then we've also got right down to the smallest diddy one, which is just there. So for this one, when it comes to actual poinsettias, I'm going to use the largest one. And then what we're just going to do is if I then start to bring in my poinsettias once again, so we've got the 2 larger ones, and then what I'll also do is let's take maybe just the medium ball tool as well. That's going to be done for the smallest ones. So then what we can just do is take in this larger one, and I'm just going to add it onto my heat tool. Now, if you need to use your tweezers or that, you can do. Let's just bring these ones to the side. That's it. And then I'm just going to pop it on, and straight away you see it's starting to move and curl. So then all that I'm just going to do now is, you can use your tweezers if you want. I'm just going to turn that around using the largest end onto our soft foam mat. We're just going to keep curling. So we're just going to curl it round and round and round. And then all that I'm just going to do as well, while it's still on the ball tool, I'm just holding my thumb just at the base there, and I'm just going to slightly pull. So we're just going to pull them that way that you can see just there. So we're kind of curling a few of these inwards. So we're just going to curl and then curl. So if I then open that one, so we can start to see how we're starting to curl in. So if I put it onto my white mat, you can just see how we're starting to get that shape just there. So what we're then going to do is we're going to do the same again with the next larger one, but we're going to kind of change the shape slightly. So we can see it's starting to just curl, and then all that I'm just going to do is I'm just going to flip that over the top, and we're just going to pop that onto the mat again. And then what I'm just going to do is keep going round and round just for a few seconds. The ball tools, they've been specially made as well, so they retain the heat, so it just keeps the heat transferring through the foam into the ball tool that wee bit longer. And then what I'm going to do this time is, instead of doing it the way that I've done it before, where I'm curling inwards, I'm just going to turn it around. So if I turn it that way, and then I'm just going to start to form it backwards. So I'm going backwards on this one just here, and then we're just going to work our way around. And then if we carry on doing that one all the way around with the same petals, you're going to start to see how you start to get a poinsettia shape. So if we then take that one, again, keeping in mind I'm holding just into the middle at each time, just so I don't tear off the leaf. And then we're starting to get that shape now. So as you can see just there, if I then even just pop that one onto our mat, you can see we're starting to get that nice pointy shape. We've still got that curve within the beginning of the leaf, but then what we've got is the point just coming up to the end that you would usually find within a poinsettia. So I'm just now going to take my medium tool, and then I'm just going to bring in the smaller ones. So if I pop that one on, and then I'm just going to do exactly the same like I'd done a moment ago. So let's just pop that one on. So we're just going to shape it, and that's just exactly what you're doing. You can lift the mat as well if you wanted to, but we're just going to shape it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it back on itself, and then we're just going to start just to actually fold that back. So each time we're creating that point, so we're just pulling it and pulling it. And then what's also happening as well, because you've got your ink already on, it's also starting to help blend it in with the actual petal. So if we finish off on that one, so you can see there, let's go onto our white mat again. You're getting that shape. And then what we're going to do is we'll do that one last time, and we're also going to do that exactly the same with that small one. So again, we're just adding that heat on. So as that then works its way around onto the mat, so we're just going to roll and roll and roll, really adding a bit of pressure into that mat. And then once again, all that I'm just going to do is turning that around. So we're just going to pull just by holding our thumb in the middle and pulling the actual petal. So we're just going to work our way around, carrying on all the way around, just like so. And then we're just going to do this last one, and then we can bring all of them in. So if we bring that one in, just there. So you can see now we've even got that shape, just like that, all coming together just nicely. So if I bring in the other ones that I've done, so I've got 3 where I've done it, so I've actually started to fold the petals back, and then I've got this one that I've kind of curved inwards, just so it's going to add just that extra bit of dimension just when you're looking into the poinsettia. And then what I'm going to do, once again, I'm going to go back to our green leaf that we've just die cut a moment ago, and I'm going to do exactly the same like I've done before. So let's just bring in our large petal and our large ball tool, and we're just going to add that one onto our mat. And then all that I'm going to do is just popping that one into place. Let's move our iron out the way, and I'm just going to start rolling. So we're just rolling it just like that, and then we'll just do that once more time with our next one. So we're just going to pop that one on. Now I've added no colour to these ones, but you could add some deep greens if you wanted to, maybe some of our pine green to add a wee bit of accent within the middle. And then that's all that we're doing with that, just rolling that one like that. We're not adding any extra shape to it. So we can move these ones out the way now. And then what you're also going to then bring in is, I have got some of our stamens. So we can see here, I'm going for these kind of like orangey ones, but you could start to colour them yourself if you wanted to. It's entirely up to yourself. Now what I've done is I have taken 2, 4, 6, so I've taken 7 of the actual stamens, and I've just taken some flower wire, very, very thin flower wire, and then I'm just going to actually just turn that around. So then I'm then folding back the stamens. So I'm kind of popping the actual wire kind of halfway. So then that's going to give us the double look of stamens. So you can see that one there. So I'm just going to just line these up just that wee bit more. And then all that I'm doing is I'm just going to keep twisting. And that's going to give us a feeding point with the wire. So I'm just going to keep going all the way around just to create a tight point at the bottom of the stamens. And then that is then us ready to go. I'm just going to take some of our scissors and I'm just going to snip that wire. It's very, very thin wire, which means we're able to do that. So then that gives us our feeding point for our stamens. Then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring in our hot glue. So we've got this one just here. You can use maybe like your glue gels, but what you have to keep in mind is obviously you need to wait on that to actually dry. The hot glue obviously pretty much dries instant, you know, within a minute or two. So that's going to give you that full flower. So then now I'm taking our pokey tool. That will always come in handy when it comes to creating the flowers. So what I'm going to do to start with is you want to start with the smaller actual petal and then go to your larger ones. So let's go to the smallest of our poinsettia that you can see there. And then all that I'm just going to do is I'm just going to just pop just a wee hole, just like so. So you can see how we're starting to come through. And then I'm just going to carry on going all the way around. Now you can, if you wanted to, add a bit of hot glue in between each layer. That's entirely up to yourself. I'm not. I like to just feed them all the way through as we go. So I've just done that again. So we're just working our way through, kind of just offsetting it each time. And then what I'm going to do is we're going to go to our largest poinsettia where we've got the actual petals just curling outwards. We're going to feed that one just into the middle. And you can see then from up above how that starts to come together. You can see that there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in this poinsettia where I've just curled in the edges. And we're doing that exactly the same. We're just starting to actually curl that inwards. And then what we're going to do is we're going to bring in the leaves, but we're going to do it upside down. So what I'm doing is I'm turning the actual petals around, and then I'm going to just pop that one just within the middle, just there. And we can see there how it's coming together. And then last but not least, let's do another layer with the flowers. So I'm just going to just pop them up to the top. And then once again, let's just feed that within the middle. And then, so straight away, just from there, you can see how that starts to come together. So then what I'm just going to do is, I'm just going to just holding that, just with my fingers, just into the center, just there. I'm then just going to come in with my stamens, and I'm just going to just feed that one through, just where I've already done the hole. And then you can see there, so if I start to pull that one in, So we're just pulling that, just feeding that one in, and now this is where you can start to add your hot glue. But what you can also do is you could have that, so it's really quite tucked within the poinsettia, or you can have it so it's pulled out that wee bit more. So I'm going to sit it just like that one. So then what I'm just going to do, so you can see that as it's coming together just nicely, I'm then just going to bring in our hot glue. So if we bring in the hot glue, and I'm just adding that just to the base of the actual stamens just there. So if I work my way around as well, and then I'm just going to leave that just for a moment or two. And as I'm just leaving that for a moment, I'm just going to start just to pull out the leaves of the poinsettia. And also what I'm going to do is just where the leaves and the poinsettia just match and meet together, I'm just going to add just a couple of wee bits of hot glue. So if I work them ones round, and then all that I'm just doing is I'm just popping these petals up, and I'm just popping the foliage leaves up. So holding that for a second, and then we're going to do the same on the other side. Just a couple of bits of hot glue, and that's just going to help keep the foliage leaves just nice and robust. And then we can do the same with that last part of the actual poinsettia as well as the leaves. We're just adding just a bit of hot glue all the way around just to add it. You don't have to use hot glue if you don't want to. If you just want to keep the foliage leaves just kind of free flowing, then you can do. But we're just going to take away these strands. What you can do as well, if you find you've got any strands from your hot glue, just take your heat tool and just give it a light blast with the hot air, and that will start to melt any of these strings of hot glue. But then what we can just do then, just taking our scissors, and I'm just going to snip at the base. This enables you to then actually sit onto your card or your scrapbook page, wherever you want to use it. And then there we go. We've then got our poinsettia that you can see just there, nicely done with the actual stamens within the middle, ready for you to use where and whenever you like when it comes to your crafty projects.